It's really quite thrilling to see. Each piece on its own is pretty small, but string them together and you see how they all fit as one and then tension together to create their full shape. When you stand underneath it, it almost feels alive, it's twinkling. So a friend of mine saw a post put on Instagram, a collector bought my Xeno lamp.
Oh, I really like the texture. Wow, this is awesome.
And he really wanted something similar for his dining room. He was asking me whether I could turn the head, the original lamp, into an uplighter to hang above the dining room. That's a nice project. But when I saw his location he wanted to hang it in, I felt like these uplighters wouldn't really do the space justice. The light would end up getting lost in the ceiling vault. So I got thinking, how could I create a more impactful design and also match the slightly quirky aesthetic of this magical fairy tale hut in the forest. So I thought what I could do is add tentacle. So this becomes the head of some magical sea creature like a tadpole or jellyfish swimming out the sky. So I did some drawings and showed him the drawings. He really loved the idea. My only problem is what started off as 3 or 4 pieces hanging from the ceiling has now become 20 pieces times 3 that all need to be assembled and then transported and then hung in the location. And I've only got 3 weeks. The most difficult defect I've found to solve has been air bubbles in the clay. Either the air bubble will explode or it creates a gap with no clay being extruded. To solve that was to spoon it in a little bit of... You can hear the bubbles have popped, but that's really, really exhausting. You can see I'm probably already sweating. So I ended up buying this pug mill. It's got a de-airing chamber, and I bought it from Eazao, the same people who I bought the printer from. Eazao sent me the file, an adapter for a 500 milliliter tube. So I can fill these up, reduce the air bubbles enough to be able to get fairly consistent prints. But these are only 500 milliliters worth of clay. I've got a lot of parts to print. So really is a bigger canister. The problem I was having with this adapter was the clay was never filling the canister. Clay coming out of the pug mill is much narrower than the tube I want to put it in. Final design created a spike on the end. When I screw it in, the clay is divided around the spike. As I fill up the clay into the adapter, it pushes out the spike, and after I've unscrewed the lid, the clay is compacted nicely into the adapter. It will load the clay fairly smoothly. So now I've decided I'm going to do this tentacle. I know I can do it because I've already done one test tentacle. This is the first version I did. But these tentacles, there's no pattern on these shapes. So I want to try and work out how I can make the pattern to split into 2 halves. I've got the spine of the tentacle through the center, and then I've got these bulges on the outside. I feel a bit more like muscle. This is a bit more complicated than the last patterns I've done because usually I'm just adding 1 pattern at a time, but this has got 2 separate patterns. So I've got to work out how to do that. I'm going to add different patterns to the outside and the inside. So I'm going to select 2 separate vertex groups here. So now I've got the inside and the outside selections as vertex groups. I can apply a different pattern to each one. For the inside, I've created linear pattern because I want this to flow from one to the other. These ridges will line up along the entire length of the tentacle. These sections with the spiraling bobbles on the outside give it a feeling that it's under tension, that there's something twisting around it. This is the original shade I designed for the lamp. What I realized, the light is all going to be shining up along the tentacle. The shade is in silhouette. It would be nice to have some light shine through on this one that just create little bubble effects. This time, each loop opens up all the way. You get a sparkling effect, but if you look from the side, each one of these loops creates a little hood, get light shining down the side of the lamp. That's the kind of effect that I'm hoping to achieve. If you like what I'm doing and want a way of being support, subscribe to my Patreon. I post start files and some more detailed videos on the methods I'm using. So if you're interested in trying some of this stuff yourself, if you do, thanks a lot. So this is a fired test part I've made, so I can test how sturdy it is in my packing. Peanuts in the bottom of the box can't get pushed away from the bottom. So I'm going to throw this downstairs like a responsible delivery driver. The moment of truth after throwing it down the stairs a couple of times. Well, it survived. The influence for the project, I was interested in how post-tensioning in concrete works, how you can create bridges with steel structures between them that add tension and strength to the structure. This is such a beguiling technique, being able to produce multiple parts that will fit together. Each piece on its own is pretty small, but when you string them together and glazed and finished and then assembled and then tightened into a really solid structure that's surprisingly light and then tensioned together to create their full shape, it's really quite thrilling to see. And then there's the other side to the design. Links back to movies I used to watch when I was younger. Sci-fi from Alien and Dark City, dark colour schemes and sci-fi nouveau creatures. Okay. When you stand underneath it, it almost feels alive. It's twinkling. Oh, the sparkliness do work, don't they?
Yeah. You pleased with them?
I'm really pleased with them. Yeah, they're really cool.
Brilliant.
So I'm really excited to see what I can do next. I haven't decided exactly what I'm going to do, but I want to do something bigger, and I'll share that as we go along.